And as I started to build my creative style and kind of my niche, I realized I had to start putting some names to things. I had to start giving it some life. And so we landed on the name Agency, which actually stemmed from the title of the characters in my work, agents. So where did it all begin? How did we get started? As a young artist, a few years out of undergrad at the illustrious Hampton University,
or each one, unique in its own, but also it fit within this kind of realm of this world of characters. And at then I wasn't thinking I was creating a world of characters. I really was just exploring. And so again, I'm at this point where I have these formulas down, and I'm so interested and inspired by it because it's something that I know I can easily reference and keep going. That I'm really I'm pushing through it. I mean, I'm going through pages after pages at this point, creating sketches and drawings, and really starting to invest myself into the references and the people that I'm depicting in my drawings, and also the way I work with social media and things like that. I was also trying to build content because I wanted to kind of flush out what was on my Instagram page and start adding things that really reference on my artwork or a majority of my artwork. And so I wanted to find a unique way to also share these images with people to ensure that, not for clout or anything like that, but this is where I actually started to get the reference for how I would title or how I would name the characters, and it was really just the thought of giving people their flowers while they can smell them. Because I had felt that I had so many relationships with people that at this point essentially only existed online on the internet, right? And even though I didn't necessarily reach out and talk to them all the time, I was always thinking and appreciating and proud of what it is that my friends were doing. And so in sitting there looking at these images of them, it started to bring some of those thoughts back. And so I thought a unique way of sharing my artwork would be to, as I finished a set of drawings, I would when I would start posting them, I would post the caption would be in reference to the person that I drew. So I would try to tell some type of story based on what they did, how they affected my life. Because again, that was another thought that happened. It was again in these relationships that you build with people, there's these pockets of time where you have a moment or two or three where someone really it's a really dear moment in your life with that person. And so I tried to recall these moments, these experiences I might have had with people, and it made the drawing even more fun because I was able to go back and reach out and think about these people and think positively. Grew up with parents and grandparents and pretty much the entire culture saying, if you got nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. And so I really wanted to take that positive energy into what I was creating and developing. And so, I would draw these images. When I started posting them, I would share I would share these stories about who that person is, and also thinking about the medium that I was using as a reference, social media, Instagram, Facebook. They tend to be places where people create, this pocket of who it is they are. People don't share their entire experiences online. We're very, curated in how we share what it is that we want to share with the world. And I always looked at it as, or I began to look at it as, people who share the best of themselves, and it can't be anything wrong with that. To be able to share who it is that you feel you are at your best. And so my intent was always to capture the beauty of that someone can share what it is and who it is, and that they thought they were at their best. And a lot of this also came from, for me, you know, whenever I was, finding references or muses to reference, before I created my formula. So picking back up on where I left off with biases. So I was talking about how, as I was referencing my Instagram images, or as I was creating my formula on Instagram, I realized that prior to creating that formula, I may have been picking, one or two followers that kind of fit my ideals of beauty, and so it allowed me to question what some of my biases were just towards beauty, ideals of beauty, and in creating that formula, it forced me to investigate diverse body types, and really fall in love with how other people embrace themselves. And in that regard, it just increased my love for those people who I was representing, and allowed me to think of them, or think of everyone in a positive light, and even more than I may have done on the regular. And so, in that sense of kind of creating these posts where I was sharing these images of friends that I was following, or that were following me on Instagram, I was able to tell these stories that expressed not only who they were, but who they were to me, because of that unique relationship that it might have been something that was somebody I only met in one instance or one time, or someone I might have had an Instagram interaction with that was that was somewhat powerful in whatever that moment was, that pocket moment. And then so which that reminds me of what really inspired the whole idea of expressing this, or expressing or sharing this beauty that I recognize in others, and being able to tell it back to them. And I was, just showing people how much I care, and how much I recognize what it is that they do and who they are, from my perspective. And it really, kind of started to create some great moments, I believe, through that, initial moment, or early moment of my Instagram. And so then, at that point, I'm in my sketchbook. I'm pushing, and at some point when the length of the neck started to get longer, was really when I was kind of forced into a smaller box. Hold off and bring that back another episode, as far as like the symbolism of the necks. And so stay tuned for that. Again, stay tuned for the expansion of the content here on Ajency Arts. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe and be notified. Until next time, MBEY, out of here.